but it rips his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. I'm the best ever.
All right, let's get back to business. My guest here live in the studio. I've wanted to interview this man for a very long time. He's an MMA fighter, proud father, and a stand-up guy. Just flown in first class from Fishtown, Pennsylvania, Justin Haskell. It's a pleasure to have you in the studio, brother.
What's up, Mike? How are you, buddy?
First and foremost, anything on the horizon? Any fights coming up? Anything booked or signed?
As of now, with Locked in the Cage, I was offered his title fight October 26th, but I was also offered a fight for CFFC, so it's still kind of up in the air. I'm not sure what I want to do.
All right, Locked in the Cage, always it's almost like a home game for you. Every time you fight in Locked in the Cage, you got about 200 Haskell fans in the building, and everybody goes crazy. So that's definitely something that's going to sell out if it happens. Are you still training at ECC Fitness? I heard about you at other gyms, Daniel Gracie.
Yeah, I'm still at ECC. We just changed the name to NFF. Legal reasons. I mean, I really can't discuss why. But yeah, I've been cross-training down with Daniel Gracie. Also, I mean, one of the top schools in the city. Most likely going to take over to be the top school in the city.
You're a 2-0 fighter right now?
3-0.
3-0, I'm sorry. All business in the cage. You can be all business in the hood too. There's a video circulating online where you casually get out of your car and just as calm as if you're mailing a letter, you walk over to some dude and slap the taste out of his mouth in front of a corner store. I'm going to see if we can find that video. Then you calmly walk back to your car and drive off. I'm curious about the background on that. Did that dude say something smart or?
This is what happened. Last year, right before Father's Day, the day before, I was in a Father's Day wiffle ball tournament. So at the corner of my eye, I see this old guy wrestling with this young dude on the ground. So I see what happens. I'm like trying to play, and no one there sees what happens. Well, the guy slams this old guy on the ground and starts running up the street, but he's running towards me. So I kind of like gradually slide over to the side of the street that he's running. So by the time he gets up to me, I notice he has something under his shirt. So I grab him and I hip toss him to the ground. As soon as I hit him, he slams on the ground. A goddamn frying pan pops out from underneath the shirt. He stole a friggin' frying pan from CVS. So I took the frying pan and I started whacking him with it. So he's bitching. In between that, you're hearing thud and bong and bang and all that. And I beat him with this frying pan, then I beat him up a little bit. Come to find out, the old guy was the manager of the store. So the guy gets up, asked me to hold him there for the couch, which I did. And I just, I figured he got his ass kicked. They got the frying pan back. He got what he got and he left.
Right.
So skip a few months, I coach football. I'm at the football field with my team, and these two black guys and this guy walk past and start yelling at me. So I look over, and this dude's like, you know what, motherfucker, I'm going to shoot you, blah, blah, blah. Starts saying all this crazy stuff to me in front of my kids.
In front of the kids.
I coach a kid's football team. So I yelled at my cousin Joey. I'm like, Joe, go grab the truck. So I start running after this dude, and my cousin Joey starts driving with me.
In the middle of your practice?
In the middle of practice, just full-blown sprint after the dude. So my cousin whips around the corner and gets me in the truck. I happen to catch a dude right at the pizza shop at, I don't want to put the streets there just in case anything ever comes out of it.
Right.
So I see him there. So I just get out of the car. As I'm approaching him, he looks at me. He starts to try to apologize. So I just smack the shit out of him.
Yeah.
I hit him with 2 quick kicks. He ended up in the hospital for 4 days with the kicks, with internal bleeding. I ruptured something in the stomach.
Those were brutal kicks. He didn't check him at all, dude. He didn't get the legs up or anything. They were flush on the ribs, if I remember.
Well, if he didn't go down off the second kick, I would have just started to pummel him.
Yeah.
I'm not someone that's like that. I don't use this MMA, for anything on the street.
Right.
But something like that with, where you're going to be yelling about shooting and screaming, especially in front of kids, my life's dedicated to kids, and I'll give my life for my kids. And I'll help any kid out, if they're in trouble. That's just how I am. That's it. That's what we're supposed to do as parents and as adults. We're supposed to protect our future children, The children, that's our future,
So it was smart for him to take an 8 count and go down.
Yeah, well, he really did. And he screamed in agony and just started bleeding. And I kind of, now, like you think about it, I kind of feel bad because when the fire department got him, like he was bleeding out of his ass.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like it was that bad. So I kind of felt really bad for him.
Any other cooking utensils fall out this time when you kicked him?
No.
All right, Justin Haskell is a Fishtown legend, proud of his roots, and he will whoop someone's ass, be it in Rite Aid, Foreman Mills, in front of a street corner, or in the middle of a football practice. Did you grow up fighting a lot?
Yes and no. I boxed, as a kid, but I'm not one of these guys who are going to sit there like, yeah, I was undefeated in the street and just beating this guy up and that guy up. It wasn't like that. I wasn't nothing like that. Fishtown really wasn't like that. I mean, I had my fair share of fights. I mean, I won a lot and I lost some. Like that's how it was. I mean, but I wasn't one of them people. I didn't hang with a group of kids that were like, we have to puff our chest and let everybody know that we're, we can fight.
Right.
I'm not. We weren't into that. I just rather be friends with everybody.
My boy Rome seen you on a Locked in the Cage poster and said he recognized you. He said, I once seen that dude fight a whole football team in the middle of a pickup game or something like that. So you have that reputation. Does having that rep get you out of fights sometimes? Or does it get you in more?
No, it's... People know who I am, man. Like, I'm one of the most level-headed people you can be around. I'd rather talk anything out before it comes to fights. But one thing about me is that if I say I'm going to get you, I'm coming for you. That's just how I am. I'm not going to sit here and try to prove it to you. But if I have a problem with you and I say, yo, I'm coming to see you, then I'm coming to see you. Right. But I don't take shit from nobody. I never have, no matter what side of the avenue I've been on. I don't pick and choose fights. I'm not one of them type of people. I don't do shit like that. It's just not my character of a person to be like that.
So, socially, you seem to be a respectful, laid-back dude. Very nice guy. Give me a good story about when you had no choice but to smack somebody, besides the frying pan thief. What's a situation where someone really pushed you on the street and you just had no choice but to brawl?
May 28th, 2006. Pinpointed. Almost went to jail for a long time. I was working at a bar. Guys jumped this guy a week before in the bar. They come to the bar, won't let them in. And they waited outside for the guy. And I was kind of cool with the crew that I ended up fighting with. So after the bar closes, we're emptying the bar out. They start jumping this dude. I come outside, I break it up, I bend over to pick them up. I get kicked in the ass. I fall flat down. I mean, it thinks funny, so I hop back up. We start mouthing off. Well, this one dude starts like really mouthing off, but he's a little guy.
Right.
So my cousin Joey, he's my brother more like it. He hops right in and like, I'll rumble you. Joey really can't fight, not taking nothing from him, but he's not like a known fighter. You know what I mean? But Joey's like, what's up? Like, we'll rumble. And as Joey went to do it, guy tried to hit him from behind. I hit the guy one time. We just tried to sneak him, so I just hit the guy first. When I knocked him out, he didn't wake up for 3.5 weeks. But in response to this, there was retaliation shooting, and the kid wound up losing his life over this shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a kid named Kevin Tanzak. His murder case was linked to my case because what happened is the group of people that I had the problem with the few days before actually went to the bar, another bar, thinking I was in there.
Right.
And Kevin ended up being, shot by his buddy.
So those bullets were for you?
I can't say they were, but he was shot, by a friend of his. And it was like, to me, it was an accident. Other people don't seem to say that, But Kevin's case played a major part in my case for me not going to jail.
Wow.
Yeah, when I got locked up June 10th, 2006, the day Bernard Hopkins beat Antonio Tarver. I had a bunch of people at the house, and I go out front with my wife. She was sitting on the step just for a minute, and all these cops pull up out front of the house. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So cop goes, are you Justin Haskell? And I'm like, no, he's in the house. Well, he's like, all right, well, you get against the wall. And they run in the house, and I'm thinking like I'm in the clear, but not at all. So I wind up getting locked up, held. My bail was super high. I don't want to put the number out, but we had to put a house up to get me out.
Right.
So
what was the charge?
Attempted murder.
Wow.
But everything wound up getting dropped down. I wound up only doing 2 years probation. That's it, dude. Which was a blessing. And at that point, my son was 3 weeks old when that fight happened. He was a month old when I got locked up, and I was married at a young age, and I looked at my wife and I'm like, do I really want to be that type of dude? In jail. Single young girl raising, her child, married, but being, circumstances, is that how I'm going to be? And that right then and there, I looked at my wife and said, you know what, I'll never do this again. I'll never have this issue again.
You're going on 10 years and you guys are still going, right?
I've been married 8, been with 13.
Nice.
Have another child on the way.
Beautiful. It normally don't work out when you do it that young, but you guys are, you must be the 1%, because 99% of those...
Yeah. That's another thing, that I pride myself on, man. I don't mess around. I don't do none of that. There's no reason to. You know why? Because I won't want that feeling that she would get. You know what I mean? If I did something, you know, behind her back,
Right.
I won't want that feeling, you know? So why would I give her that feeling, you know? So that's, you know, we have a decent relationship, me and my wife. It's very awkward, but it's decent.
So growing up, everyone's got their OGs in the neighborhood. Who were your idols growing up, or maybe not idols, but who were some of the guys that you heard stories about growing up in Fishtown?
Dude, I could sit here and fill this thing in forever, man. One of my favorite old heads ever, man. I love the dude. My man, Deadeye, Danny Mariansky. He was a tough ass dude, man. Tough ass dude. We got Big Harry Ulmer, which is Denny's uncle. He was a monster too. The Bomb Squad were the shit. I loved being a kid watching them guys fight. It'd be a big ass gang fight. I'm talking like gangs of New York style. It'd be like KGB coming down Cumberland Street, FST coming down Cedar Street, Bomb Squad coming up Cedar Street, meeting right at Cedar and Cumberland, have its big ass brawl out front of my house. Loved it.
That was before guns, right?
Yep.
Everybody just manned up and threw hands?
Definitely. And they would rumble anybody. They didn't give a shit who you were. It was awesome.
Trayvon Martin. Different people got different opinions about the case. I'm curious. Basically, the jury said that the homicide was justifiable. Without getting too much into the Trayvon case, if someone attacks somebody else, are they justified in killing them, do you think? Or do you think you should maybe try to hit a leg or an arm? Or do you think someone deserves to die if they attack someone else?
Motherfucker attacks me, he's gonna die, I'll tell you that. That's just how it is. I mean, honestly, I mean, facts don't lie. The case got away from actually being a case. It got more of media racism case. It started to become, you know, a white versus black thing, and you know the Peruvians are standing to the side like, look, the whites are being blamed for us for doing this shit, you know?
Yeah.
It's a shame that the kid died and how it's being portrayed, but it definitely got taken away from the case. It was more made a racial case than anything else, dude.
So growing up, how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I got two older sisters. I got my sister Adrienne and my sister Lauren.
You had a brother that unfortunately passed away while in active duty. Can you tell us a little bit about him?
Pat was the man, dude. He was so nuts. He's one of them dudes that was just like hysterical, could do every voice impersonation. I was with him the day we were in slacks. I'll never forget it. The day a Marine recruiter came in to eat, and Pat just got up. He's like, you know what? I don't want to be a butcher anymore. I think I want to join the Marines. So he went over and had lunch with the dude. And I sat there by myself and finished my sandwich. I'm like, this is what's up. And he left that May. He left in May 2003.
How long was he gone before he passed away?
Pat seen action in Iraq in 04, came home and went back out in 06, and he died April 12th, 2006. I was actually on the phone with him 2 hours before he was actually pronounced dead, and he was in North Carolina, and he told me that I thought he was messing with me because I drove past his house, and I see Marines there, so I'm with my wife, and I'm like, oh, this dude lied to me saying he's not coming home, and here it was, you know, the military coming to inform that he passed away.
So he got hit and he made it for a little while longer?
Yeah, he died of a heart attack. A heart attack's what killed him.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does suck.
But he passed away in North Carolina?
Yeah.
So it must have been an exercise or something, right? Training exercise?
Died at night. Died in his sleep.
Oh, wow.
Talked to him, I was on the phone maybe about 11:15 p.m. They pronounced him dead right before 2 a.m.
How do you feel about the armed services? Would you let your kids enlist?
If they had to, yes. I mean, the way we're treating our soldiers now, it's a shame. I mean, you're better off going on welfare than joining the goddamn military.
I'm hearing that we're pulling funding for student loans and grants for soldiers, but we're increasing funding for illegal immigrants to go to college. And every day there's something new on CNN or something that makes absolutely no sense. And it gets a little sad now.
I mean, honestly, Obama's under the microscope more because he's black. So everything is being portrayed as him being the worst this and the worst that. I mean, every president has its shit with them, you know, but honestly, anybody who took office after Bush would be getting this scrutinized, but especially since Obama's half black, you know what I mean? He's being held to a higher standard and being butchered more.
Right.
Honestly, but dude, we were built on a country of immigrants, dude. I mean, so is it running rampant down there with the Mexicans coming in? Yeah, but everybody wants to come to America, dude. Who doesn't? The way we live is best. That's why we're the most hated country in the world, because of the way we live.
Right. Let's talk about MMA now. You got 2 boys?
Yes, I got 2 sons of my own. I have another child on the way. We don't know what we're having yet, but I also have my nephews and my brother-in-law.
So what happens when your boys get older? If they want to get in an MMA cage, you cool with that?
Yeah, definitely. That's more the reason why I got involved in the sport is because I want to train my sons. You know what I mean? Like the fighting thing to me doesn't really bother me. It's not a big deal if I never fight again. As long as I train, I'm fine with it. You know what I mean? But I would love to see my boys go on a tear. You know what I mean?
So for every fight that you have, your boys actually you bring them out to the fights to watch you, am I right?
I bring my nephews and my brother-in-law out. I bring them out. I don't bring my youngest 2.
We're gonna take our first break with Justin Haskell. We'll be right back after these messages.
Got the excitement here that we look for. Down again! No saving by the bell! He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know where he is in his target zone. What excitement!
Broadcasting live from the penthouse atop Center City's largest skyscraper. Or better yet, live from a converted tool shed in Levittown, Pennsylvania. It's Sitdown Radio with your host, Mike Bicky.
All right, we are back with Justin Haskell, MMA fighter, undefeated MMA fighter. Now, for every real tough guy out there seems to be 100 fake tough guys. Since MMA is now at an all-time high in popularity, we have some people signing up at the local gym. They go once or twice. They see how dedicated you guys are and the physical fitness routines you guys put yourself through to stay in shape. And they default on their membership, and then they go on Facebook and tell everyone that they're an MMA fighter now. They're the next superstar. You come across these people, or do they tend to hide out when they come across real fighters?
Dude, everyone's an MMA fighter. Everyone has a boxing background, or we get hit with, I grew up in Kensington. I mean, I don't know what the hell that means, but we hear that a lot. Or everyone, I'm like, well, you grew up in Kensington. Well, how old were you when you moved out? Oh, I was 4. Well, you're 30 now, dude. So doesn't mean you're from Kensington, dude. You're from wherever the hell you're from now. You know what I mean? But definitely get that a lot. Get guys come in, they'll come do the 3-day pass, take all these pictures in the gym, be like, oh, look at me. They'll put a gi on, and next thing you know, you're hearing they're a purple belt, or they did 14 rounds of MMA sparring or Muay Thai sparring and all this other crazy shit. Yeah, we get that a lot.
So you guys, when you have someone like that come in, I'm sure you guys embrace everybody when they come into a new gym and you don't beat the hell out of them right away. But did you ever come across somebody and go a little extra hard because you knew they were being fake about it?
Oh, definitely. Any gym is going to say the same thing, yes. Yes, no matter what sport, we get guys all the time that do that stuff. More or less, I don't really do that too much because I know what it's like to be the new dude in the gym and, you know, go up against the top dude and get your ass kicked. I've been there before. My first time ever sparring MMA, Casey Adams hit me with a spinning heel kick. Didn't even know what the hell it was. He hit me so damn hard and fast, it took me like 14 seconds to realize I was out of breath. You know what I mean? I wound up just falling.
So you had a reputation as a tough guy before you even got into MMA. I think it's real ballsy to actually start training MMA, and it's almost like you're starting over. You know, you're known as somebody on the streets that can handle yourself. Once you walk into an MMA gym, you're pretty much starting over. You got to learn different things. Guys that have been there a little bit longer know what to do to take a big guy down and do some different things. Did you get into MMA because of the competition or the fitness or a mixture of everything?
I more or less just started training MMA to get in shape. You know, I got real heavy for a while. I was a pretty heavy dude, and I was like, you know what, I wanted to try it out. And then Franny Evans came to me and was just like, yo, what do you think about taking it, you know, fighting an MMA match? And I was like kind of hesitant to. I'm like, I don't know, you know, blah, blah, like whatever. And then, you know what? I was like, you know what, I'll try it. I took my first MMA fight with 35 days of training. I've never trained this sport before. I took my very first fight against Brian Walsh with 35 days.
That was a big fight.
That was a huge fight. I sold like 260 tickets to that fight. And the pressure of that fight was bananas. Honestly, I thought I was going to lose. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I really didn't.
I was at that fight, and I had the family there, and up until that fight started, it seemed like a family-oriented event. Everybody was like, it was just like everyone was cheering for the better man that night. As soon as you and Blackout came out, it was like the black cloud started forming over the arena.
It became a European soccer game, dude.
Yeah, it got real quick.
I'm actually like a really popular dude where I'm from, honestly, and it's not because of none of this. It's just because I'm humble. I help everybody, man. I'm just friends with everybody, and that's how I want to be known. Like I just want to be friends with everybody, and that's just how I am, man. I got a good name. My name's good, and that's why people will support, good people. You know what I mean?
So let's go through this moment. You've been in tons of fights before. I'm sure you've been in fights in parks, in the street, and all that. You do this 35 days of training. You get into the cage, you come out, you know what I mean? Your trainers, they say whatever they say to you. That door closes and it's just you and Blackout. What are you thinking? Is it just another fight to you, or is it a lot of pressure on you?
Dude, you know what? I remember my fight. I had to watch it the next day because I don't even remember fighting. That's how I was blacked out, dude. I was so nervous. I'm like, dude, I'm going to get killed. From what I understood, Brian Walsh was training for 8 months. And he was in really good shape.
He's a big boy.
Good shape. But this idiot shows up to the damn fight drinking a friggin' Coors Light. He's in the back drinking a Coors Light. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm over here farting and nervous and burping and shit because I'm like, dude, I'm going to get killed. If I get knocked out in this goddamn ring, I'm going to look like a fool in front of the whole neighborhood.
Right.
And this dude's in the back friggin' drinking beer. I'm like, and he's, coming over talking to me. He's like, be ready, blah, blah, blah.
Is that what he told you? Be ready?
Just be ready for me. I'm like, you got it. But I learned underhooks. The first thing that I was drilled on, first and foremost, I want to stop this and switch subject. My brother's a combat, man, the Netterville brothers. That first fight, Matt, Chris, and Danny Netterville, them boys put me through the ringer to get ready for that fight. I'm talking 4 or 5 hours a day. Matt Netterville had me off the jump running like 40 sprints on this damn treadmill at 12 miles an hour on 12 incline, dude, and I wasn't allowed to get off until he said so, but that's discipline of the sport, and countless pad work, countless, bag work, countless, conditioning, and I love them, man. I love them for that. They got me ready for my fights, man, and they got me ready in 35 days for that fight. And I predicted that fight. That's no lie. I predicted I was going to hit him with that front kick that I hit him with.
Where did that come from? Did you train that, or
one day?
The front kick, really?
One day I worked with a Taekwondo guy, 4-time world amateur champ Taekwondo kid named Eric something. He was a Grindhouse member for a while. He's in college now, but he was a kid, and he just taught me. He said, get your foot above your knee and snap. Once your foot gets above your knee and you snap, dude, he goes, it's going to be like getting kicked by a horse. And he came out with his hands down, and I just stopped playing at my foot and I threw it.
And I think Steven Seagal is the guy that taught him.
So if you actually watch that fight, you'll see that I hesitate for a minute because I was like, holy shit, that just happened. And then I run in and wrapped in a rear naked choke the wrong way.
Still the only guy, though, to ever land a front kick and locked in the cage, a front kick to the face. So when you're on the card, we have some of our biggest and most hyped crowds. The events are pretty much like home games for you. Your fans are on edge waiting for your fight. When your music comes on, the crowd literally pops, they explode. I don't know if he's related to you, but that dude's always there at your fights with the beard. He's always got a mug of beer with him, and he's jumping up.
Oh, that's my man. That's Big Matt, dude.
You gotta shout him out.
Yeah, I gotta shout Big Matt. Yo, Big Matt's my hype man. That kid's, he needs to be in the goddamn cage fight. Yeah. That's my boy, man. I love Big Matt. He's off the hook. He's one of the best kids from the neighborhood. You want to talk about a street legend? He's a street legend. He'll fight anybody, and I mean anybody, no matter shape, size, skill level. That kid will not hesitate to throw hands with anybody. Even if he loses, he'll get knocked out, he'll wake up, and he'll still run his mouth. That's the type of dude he is, and that's why I love him. He got the biggest heart in the world, dude, honestly.
Shout out to Big Matt. So when you get in the cage, after you got that one under your belt, are you feeling that same pressure for your second fight?
Definitely. Okay. I did a 13-week camp for that fight against Bruce Fenimore. It took me 10 days out of that fight, man. I was losing sleep and everything, man. I kept replaying the fight in my head and over, but I got We got a video of him when he fought Bobby Fitzgerald. Shout out little Bobby Fitz, because that's my boy right there too. He's a tough kid. I'm like, this dude's throwing shit from all over the place. He was boxing like an octopus. I'm like, if I just we stay tight, we're gonna beat the shit out of him. Cause I got a boxing background. I got pretty decent boxing.
Outside of cage fighting, you've done some pretty interesting things. You provided security for Roan, one of the best battle rappers on the planet. Have you ever had to calm down any more than excited fans with maybe a Fishtown slap or something coming at Roan?
Nah, not really. I mean, I've worked for Roan, a few times. Roan actually has a decent following, and more or less, I mean, his whole crew's with him. You know what I mean? Like his whole posse's with him. So I mean, no one's never got out of control when I was there, ever. But the dude's definitely going to be something major. He's not only like the man at battle rapping, but his CD's awesome, dude. First Story, you have to. Get it off of iTunes. The CD is off the hook, man. He's awesome, man. I'm glad I got to meet him and actually get to work for him.
This is something new that's actually making hip hop interesting again. Every time you hear some shitty like down south rapper on an 80 beat per minute beat talking about their chain and drugs and sipping syrup and popping Percocets, it waters down the game a little bit. Now you have the battle leagues. These guys like Disaster, guys like Roan,
Loaded Lux,
DNA. It's very interesting stuff, and then you watch these guys and they get personal, and it's awesome. Outside of there being violence in it, I mean it's one of the best things that's keeping hip hop alive still. So good luck to Roan on his career, on pushing his career. You also have a music background. Tell us a little bit about your time you spent in the music game.
Yeah, I worked for a record label for a while, from 02 to 05. I worked with the 5-Star Generals and the New Jersey Devils over in Marlton, New Jersey for a little bit.
Did you do production?
More or less security. I was always at the recording studio and all with them guys.
Right.
But that's about as far as it went.
So you've been training for a while now. You've been in the sport, about 4 or 5 years?
MMA about 3.
3 years, okay. So in your 3 years, whatever gyms you've been at, tell us about some of the guys that impressed you the most that you got to train with.
That I got to train with? Man, I got to Justin Flores. Justin Flores is one of my favorite people, man, in the MMA game. He's the ground coach at Bryan House where I started out. Mm-hmm. J-Flo is national college champion. Set a ton of Cali records, not to mention he's part of Team USA Judo. He's got numerous judo awards under him. Justin's the man, and he's right now being belted through John Donaher, right, for jiu-jitsu. But he's black. He's a black belt. He's just never been belted in BJJ, but he'll have his black belt soon.
Ever been knocked out or rocked in training to the point of almost being knocked out?
Never been knocked out ever. Not boxing.
Oh, in your life, really?
Never, not.
No one whacked you with a bottle 10 years ago?
I've been hit with a freaking brick. I think being hit with a brick was probably the worst thing I've ever been hit with, like in the face. That sucked, like a lot. I've been hit with shit. I was stabbed with a fire poker. That wasn't a party anybody wants to attend.
Right.
But I've been dazed a few times. Punched. Just training the sport.
In the streets, did you ever punch the wrong person and feel bad about it? Like everyone makes mistakes. Did you ever sock the wrong guy and find out later it wasn't that person?
Oh, dude, this is a crazy story right here. I was a kid when I did this shit, and you know what? I felt like the biggest asshole after I did. I was in the worst mood like possible at that time in life, and this kid walked up and asked me for a friggin' cigarette. I'm like, dude, I don't smoke. So then he asked my buddy Smidge for a cigarette. I'm like, dude, he don't smoke either. So he turned around, he's like, well, you should start smoking because I needed a cigarette. And I pummeled this dude all the way down the damn street. I felt so like after he leaves, he's crying, and I'm like, you're an asshole for doing it. Like, really? Like, was that necessary? And to myself, I'm like, no, it's not necessary, but it still happened. It was stupid of me for doing it, but we look back and laugh at it now. I just hope I never changed a kid's life after that shit.
Right. All right, we're going to start the clock. Call out clock. You got 30 seconds. Actually, you got unlimited time. Fuck 30 seconds. Anybody you want to call out. Could be an MMA fighter. Could be the ice cream man for not coming down your block. Anybody you want to call out?
Nah, I don't call out anybody. What's the point? I'm not calling anybody out. Not at all.
All right, finally, we're going to play a round of Chillax, Tap, or Pimp Slap.
And now it's time for Chillax, Tap, or Pimp Slap.
Chillax, meaning you can hang out with anybody in history. Tap, meaning you apply an incredibly painful submission until you feel like letting go. And pimp slap, meaning, well, a good old 70s fly guy Dolomite pimp slap square in their fucking face.
I would like to chill with Method Man for some reason. He just seems like he's a straight up crazy dude.
Yeah, Method Man's a good guy. I met him twice. Actually.
I've always wanted to meet him. He's the man. Someone I want to tap, James Booth.
James Booth, he's
he's my coach.
He's the stud jiu-jitsu dude, right?
Yeah, he's a unicorn.
What's a unicorn?
I don't know. You tell me. He's a unicorn. That's what he tells me.
He must have had to work his way up to it,
I
whatever
have no
it is.
clue. I just know not to play leapfrog with a unicorn.
And who would you want to catch? Well, you slap everybody. Is there anyone on your list that you haven't slapped yet?
My wife.
Your wife? I wouldn't go there.
You know what? Sometimes she deserves it. Nah. I really don't have no feelings towards anyone that I would want to just openly smack. It would really have to be something major for me to come out and do some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like to just randomly. Steve Fadula. There you are. I hate that kid so much. I want to smack Steve Fadula.
Stunning Steve Fadula.
Stunning. Stunning.
Steve Fadula.
I even feel bad. You know what? I'm actually mad at myself now for even bringing him up. Yeah, Steve Fadula. He's getting my smack.
Does he go into that category of MMA dudes that don't really train? I don't know the guy.
Oh my God, are you serious? This dude came to our gym on a 3-day pass after he told us he trained at Martinez, which I knew was bullshit because Will Martinez would never let no type of bullshit like that in his gym. This dude comes to our gym saying that he trained at Martinez. He wanted to try our gym out. Now this kid was walking 3.5 miles from his house to our gym.
Right.
He would come in with his Walmart tap-out shorts on.
Right.
All right? He had a tap-out visor. Like he's one of them dudes.
All right.
He would come in, jump rope, hit the bag, run like 2 laps outside, leave. You'd go on Facebook. This dude was like, I was sparring. I just did this. I did all these other moves. I did a cartwheel off the top rope into a flying knee bar. All this, and this, yeah, he's one of them dudes, man. It was horrible.
You weren't stunned when you first trained him?
I was stunned to find out the shit he was putting on fucking Facebook.
So what's the big picture for you? Couple more fights. You're going to be turning pro, I assume, and then you got the same dream everyone else has, UFC?
Honestly, no. No, I don't have that dream. This is more of a hobby for me. I enjoy doing it. Once you start taking certain shit serious, it doesn't become fun anymore. Right. You know what I mean? But I don't mind like 1 or 2 more fights. Everything got to be run past my wife. And on top of that, I'm more about my kids than I'm about myself. If I get to go to the gym for 2 hours in the morning and spar, I consider that a fight. Some might not, but I do. I spar with pro fighters every single day. Right. And 11 out of 10 times I get my ass handed to me. But that makes me feel good. It keeps me humble. I went to the gym today and I got beat up. And that was awesome. I know that if I fight a guy my level or a little better than me, I'm going to beat the shit out of him. But I like training with the higher up guys, so I know what I can do and what I can't do,
How good, speaking of the higher up guys, how good is Daniel Gracie on the ground? Have you rolled with him yet?
Man, he's a friggin' Gracie. It's like having an elephant on your chest standing on one leg, just trying to get his knee and belly off. But yeah, Daniel's the man. My 110% is like Daniel's 1.6% rolling. Yeah, he's a monster. He's definitely legit. He's awesome. I actually just like going to his gym. Everything there is just like awesome. The quality of students there is awesome. The level of talent on that mat is crazy, dude. It's just like you're on the mat. Every time you're on the mat, there's at least a minimum of 4 or 5 black belts. Wow. Two brown belts, a shitload of purple belts, a lot of blue belts, and a ton of white belts. You know what I mean? It's just off the hook.
He's a young guy too, isn't he, Daniel?
I believe 40.
Oh, is he?
I mean, that's still young in MMA.
I don't want to say that's old because the Gracies have their diet. I read about it. I believe Helio made it up, and it's got like different things like squeeze a lemon and do this and do that. And Helio almost made it to when did he pass away? He was like 92 or something like that.
I guess I'm not that far up the chain in the Gracies. I just know that you don't want to mess with them or go out with any of their sisters or female cousins. You don't
They got some hot cousins too. I hope Daniel's not listening. But
but you got to understand something.
Kyra, dude, did you ever see Kyra Gracie?
Yeah, and if you do something wrong to her, just listen to the last name. You have that coming after you. That's not something you want after you.
That's probably worse than a Jamaican drug posse or something like that.
It's something.
The Gracies. All right, Justin, anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, I want to, shout out my whole team. First and foremost, my coach, James Booth. It's my man. It's more of my little brother that just beats me up. I want to send a happy birthday to my other brother in combat, my man Sharon Brown, a.k.a. Shug. Dude's been with me through everything. 13 Entertainment, you know what I mean? The Netterville brothers, all three of them. Matt, Chris, and Danny. Ofa Donaldson. I want to Steve Rosenbaum, Gracie, Philly, Dangle, Roger Ambrosi. My wife, my kids, everybody. I just want to give a shout out to them. With all of them, they make this possible. And hopefully it continues. You know what I mean? Another thing too, I got to give a shout out. I told him my buddy Kurt Hendricks, Kurt Wonderstone, we call him. You know what I mean? He's the size of a minion. You know what I mean? Little dude, but he has big arms and he thinks he's Chris Benoit.
Plus Fran Evans.
Yeah, Franny Evans. I got to give it up to Franny Evans. You know what's crazy about Franny, man? Franny was there the first day I met my wife, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah, me and Franny been friends forever. And you know what's funny? You could tell that we're really good friends because we're always talking shit about each other. That's how you know we're legit friends. If you're not talking bad about your friends, then you don't care about them.
Yeah, Fran is a good dude. And a super shout out to our boy. What's his name? Big with the beard.
Big Matt.
Big Matt.
Yeah.
We're going to end the show with Big Matt. Shout out to Big Matt. In fact, I'm going to find a picture. We're going to put you in this video.
Got it.
Shout out Big Matt. All right. That's Justin Haskell. Thanks for coming by.
Shout out Mike Bickings, man. I'm sorry.
Mike Bickings.
Big Mike. You're the man.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Handsome.